Okay, everybody, we'll go ahead and get going here. Let me flip over to the first page here. This is a kind of a continuation on from a webinar I did back, I believe it was back in June. I guess you call that one part one. This is part two. There's gonna be multiple parts, so it's not like only a two-part series here. We'll be like Hollywood and drag this out as much as we can. But so today, let me go ahead and flip over here. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about some hydrology terms. Now, I'm not going to get in the weeds of that. I'm assuming if you're here, you probably know more about hydrology than I do. So we'll just kind of cover some bold, some nothing really too special stuff there. And it's got a nice list. We'll talk about info drainage here. Talk a little more here on the PowerPoint part of it here, and then I will jump into the software itself here. So I don't think this will take us a full hour. And I like to keep these shorter than that since they are a part series. I don't like being a full hour because it makes it difficult later on when you guys want to come back in and jump back into some things I've talked about in the future. But now I do have a poll here, which if I can find, I got to find it on my screen here again. Good old Zoom here hides things, and now I don't know where it went. It was just there.
I'll go ahead and activate it.
Yeah, go ahead because I can't see it on my screen now. How I got my full screen. Yeah, go ahead here. I want you guys to go through the poll here, get an idea of who we're talking to for future reference stuff, and see how many beginners or experts we've got down here. So I'll let it run here for 30 seconds or so. I'll give everybody a chance to chime in. And I'm seeing here we've got about a 50-50 mix between those who are current Innovyze users and those who are not. We got probably about 3/4 of you are beginners. We get intermediate and advanced. So I'll go ahead here. I think we'll stop it at that. Thank you very much for the poll again. And I'll go ahead and close it out. Now, flip over to me about myself. I'm Bill Newhauser. I work here at ATG. I've been in the reseller industry here for the last, since 05 or so. So I'm a registered civil engineer, North Dakota and Minnesota, as you can see through here. So I've been using Civil 3D since it pretty much came out. Prior to that, Land Desktop, since it came out, and the DCA, which is even a predecessor to Land Desktop. So way back in the beginning. So. But so here are some hydrology terms here, just to get it up on screen here. You know, hydrology is a study of movement, distribution, and quality of water throughout the earth, and there addresses the hydraulic cycle as well as water source resources. To me, off this list, stuff that we'll probably dive into a little bit more, you know, you got runoff, queue, the actual, you know, what are we looking for, right? That's really the bottom line. We're trying to find out how much runoff are we going to get from our sites here. Point of concentration, where's it happening at? You know, where's the culvert, where's the pond, or whatever it is we're trying to drain it into. Time of concentration, this is one, again, some of you probably all know this anyway, but you know, the bigger the area, the more time it takes for the whole site to get inundated. And what this is it's a calculation that figures out that the farthest drop of water in your catchment area, how long does it take to get from there to your, you know, pond or, you know, inlet or whatever it is. And that's critical, but that's in depth there and helping figure out our flows here. So down below here, info drainage overview. Autodesk Info Drainage is a comprehensive hydrology solution used for both modeling, analysis of drainage systems, stormwater networks, and sanitary systems. Info Drainage works with the following software: exporting from Civil 3, you know, importing, exporting. And right now, I'm running version 23.0, and I'm going to show you here in a second here how you find out what version you're running here. But they actually just came out just about a week or so ago, 23.1. Now, since I've got this presentation and I've got another one coming up, I'm actually doing another presentation at Autodesk University this year. If you're going, please come see it. We actually just got asked to do it twice. So the first one filled up, and I've got a gentleman from Autodesk who's going to join me on that one. So you're going to be able to talk to the source. So keep that in mind. But so as far as 23.1 is out, and what I've been noticing here between the 22 versions and the 23 is that they have really gotten into making that import exporting back and forth to Civil 3D much more seamless. Okay, and some other things here too. I wanted to bring up because somebody was asking me this question a couple of weeks ago. Hey, does this do sanitary? And I was like, well, I think so, but I didn't really see much, in the software here. So I dug into it here, and I found it. Yes, it does. They call it something different. It's probably one of those UK things, but they call it FOW, sanitary sewer design. So back in, I think it was 21 or 22 is when they added that stuff in. So I just wanted to clarify that. This is a screen capture right from their website. Yeah, 21.2 now supports the ability to design foul and sanitary sewers. So we're not talking about sanitary in our design here, but a little getting ahead of myself though. The site that I'm going to show you guys I'm working on actually is a little bit different than I had in part one. Part one was, I didn't have any live data, so it was kind of a made up site that I started from ground zero, smaller subdivision type thing. Well, since then to now, I've been helping a company here with their full design process in a very large subdivision down in Colorado here. And so eventually we will be getting into the sanitary and the water. So we're going to probably be throwing the whole gamut here of Innovyze products at their site. And I'll show it to you here in a second here. But you can see on the left side here, I think one of the biggest things really, well, there's a couple major things, but one of the larger things is that the InfoDrainage compared to like SSA, which we all have access to, right, in Civil 3D, is that down here on the bottom, you got this various green solutions, I call them, okay? Bioretention, cellular storage, chamber storage. This is all the new fandangle stuff in the last 10, 15 years that have been popping up. And they really have jumped into it and giving you guys access to all this. And I'm going to show you some of that here in a little bit here too. So, but key features. And this, again, some stuff here I pulled off their website, sustainable traditional design, analyze flows and flooding, Civil 3D integration. Boom, we all want that, right? Okay, natural flow paths, real life view, templated designs. Now that's an interesting one because that's how we make this be repeatable, okay? Over and over and over again. The fewer clicks, the better off we are. It's kind of like styles, right? Civil 3D styles. It's how we repeat over and over again. And clear visualizations, check details quickly, validate mistakes rapidly, simplified workflow, etc. Okay. Now, what's new? Now, I got this is what's came out in 2023, and exporting Civil 3D catchments, InfoDrainage for Civil 3D. Okay, so again, they're getting that process down, and believe me, that's important because when I first got this, I had a heck of a time getting this to work. And then they came out with 23. Yeah, I think it was in June-ish, and life got a lot easier. The ability to annotate some stuff inside of the software to make it a little more visually, more information pop up. And then critical by return period, importing pipes, manholes from CAD files. Okay, you can see the CAD data here. I'm going to show you guys that a little bit here too, the stuff that we can import in. So now I bring up here the Rationale Method. That's pretty common, and I bring this up because on the design we're working on here, everything is pretty much below 200 acres. Now the whole site is like 1,500 acres, but each pond area is definitely not over 200 acres. And so that's what we're kind of looking at in there. Now, they do have other solutions for the larger areas. Again, we won't get into that more Innovyze solutions down the pipe here. So let's go ahead here. And I want to show here, and I got this up more or less just to show people that, where are we getting this information from? Okay, where's some of this? Now, what I'm showing you here, actually inside the software, which I'll show you in a minute, there's actually a button. I'll take you right to this website. Okay, I've got it bookmarked up here for you. Okay, and you probably all know where it's at anyway, but I just like to bring it up so you have an idea. And this also comes from it. Okay, so when you pick on the site where you want it to, okay, actually down below, which I'm not showing on the screen capture, is going to be this information here, okay? And I'm just highlighting an area here. So over on the right side here, you've got the, it's hard to read there, but runtime. Okay, this is actually, if you take 2880 divided by 60, guess what? It's the 24-hour period, or actually I think it's a 48-hour period, wasn't it? I think it was. But so anyway, I'm just showing you some values that I used here across the board here. I guess I got to go back and change that. I think 2880 is actually 4,800 or 48 days or hours. So just a sample little equation here so you see what's going on. Nothing real special there. Some more helpful links, okay? And I bring this up because when we get into the software, it's going to start asking you things like your C values, on your lands, your soil types, etc. And here's some more links here to take you out to the government websites to find all that information. Okay. Now, inside, once we get this data in here, we're going to start bringing in these catchment areas. Now, these catchment areas, okay, these can come from many different sources, many different ways in. I noticed that in the newer release of 23.1, they do have now an easier, and like I said, until I've played with it, they have it in the what's new, the ability to go from Civil 3D catchment areas in there and bring them in directly into Infraworks. Okay, I haven't seen exactly what's different or better about it, but it's called out in the what's new portion of it. Okay, but other things here's Infraworks. Okay, just bring that good old Infraworks name up here. A great way of getting these catchment areas. In fact, I'll take you over to that and kind of give you a quick, overview on that. And then the old-fashioned way, right? USGS quad maps. The old-fashioned way of doing it. It works, and it's kind of a little funny. As on this particular project, the engineer that's actually working on this out of Burnsville, a guy by the name of Rich Schindler. He was doing kind of stuff old school, and was kind of interesting. He did it by other methods here, probably the USGS quad maps type stuff, where he went out and picked where he thought the drainage areas were. Well, we turned around and compared them how Infraworks and Civil 3D had done it, and it was like amazingly pretty darn close. So, so I'm going to click over here now and go into. I'm going to first go to Infraworks. Inside of Infraworks here. Okay, just to show you guys here, since you could hear me talk, but you couldn't see what was going on. This is the project here, just to kind of give you a general location. So the Colorado Springs airport is over here. Up here in the top right is the little Space Force Air Force base. It's like 8,000 people in 3 buildings. It's kind of interesting if you look at it. But now, down here is a subdivision that we are actually eventually going to be tying into. Our client here, Core Group Engineering, they designed this over the last 10 years or so. So this is kind of like the next phase that's happening on the project here. And so what we are doing here on this phase here, eventually, is you'll notice these different ponds we got here. We are actually going to tie these all together here using InfoDrainage here and analyze them. And if you come to my AU presentation, my Autodesk expert will be talking about that, and he's laid out most of the stuff here for us. But so anyway, so what you guys couldn't see before, this pops up on the right side here. So depending upon which region I pick on, okay, and now Infraworks is smart enough to realize where I am. So if I pick on the wrong region that's physically not in my area, it will not give me numbers. Okay, so kudos for that. So Southwest region, so that's probably about where we're at. Okay, so there's some values we're just giving here. So here, actually, what percentage above 7,500 feet? We're at 0%. We're actually we're 5781 to 5757. So yeah, pretty much below that. So anyway, without wasting any more time here in Infraworks, just to show you guys. Now, what I have in here, you can kind of see this background image here. This whole area was actually flown with a LiDAR, a drone LiDAR. So the surface we have here is actually pretty darn good. In fact, amazingly good. So if we get down here in the ravines and stuff, that is what it is. So what you see outside of here came from Model Builder within Infraworks. And so we have a leak here. See us leaking from our one surface into the other surface here. So doing a pretty good job. So, okay, so let me kick out of that now. So let's go back here. So I was back in, where are we at here? Back into InfoDrainage, okay? And so what I was showing you guys there was the difference on the catchment areas. So if we come back up here to the import, this is where we have the ability here to import from external sources here. So background data, micro drainage from LAN-XML, from CAD, from GIS, and some text type imports here too. Okay, I'm not sure what that exactly is, but so you get the GIS set of life. If for those that know Innovyze is really ingrained in the GIS side of life into ISRI. So this does not surprise me in the least. From the CAD side here, now bringing in these catchment areas, that's coming in through here. And like I was showing you earlier, which you guys couldn't see, when I click on the help here, and this is what pops up as far as down here. It's showing me here that I can bring in catchment areas. Now I got a question. I'm looking at the questions here real quick here. Someone here is a catchment drawn in Civil 3 or can it be delineated in InfoDrainage directly? My understanding is that once it comes into here, we can grip on this and change it any way, which way we want to. So if you want to fine tune adjustment here, which I'm assuming you're talking about, making those subtle changes, we can. It's not hard in stone. I haven't seen what's coming from Civil 3D directly from their catchment area, so I can't answer that as far as what's in Civil 3D, but I can here, once it is here, you can see here we got fully added. In fact, one of my wishes is I wish that once we brought this in, that there was a lock button, because I've accidentally bumped this and whoops, moved it. Okay, see the blue lines here? That's what's coming in from CAD in the background. So Control Z, right? Bring it back. So I wish there was a way to lock it. So to answer one of the questions here. Now, and someone else said, how big a catchment area can be modeled once as in one project? I'll be honest, I don't know that number. I couldn't tell you the top of my head here. So, but okay, so let's continue on. Okay, so how are these, if you don't bring them in here, through the import process here, then we have to come over here and bring them in from here. Now, again, I talked about the catchment areas more in our part 1. So what I want to talk about now is more the storm controls and some of the other things here we got off the list here. Okay, and so what you guys are seeing here right now, this is actually the model. I've had the Autodesk expert go through here and link this all together. And again, I accidentally drag. We all know Autodesk and their commands. They don't like keeping the commands exactly the same. It looks like they got to bring in a new background map here. This should be shifted up. But so we got a pond down here, pond A1, pond A2. If I pan up here, we have a larger pond here, pond number 2. Now the design on this particular area right here is that everything goes, or I should say everything. We have a drainage that goes into this pond, and then this pond goes into this pond, and then the drainage areas from right in here is going to go into this pond as well. And then this pond here is bringing in this big drainage area you see here. Okay, that's going into that pond. And you'll notice here, this whole site here, I think we've got like 15 separate ponds here eventually here being laid out. So if I go in here, let's have a look at one of these ponds. You guys see what's going on. So I've got, this is the catchment area. So if I double click on this, this is the information that's tied into the catchment itself. Now, in my PowerPoint, which I don't want to run with fear of it locking me out again here, is that, see these little calculator buttons here? Okay, if you click on these will actually take you out. I'm like probably most of you, is that I do this just enough to be dangerous, right? So I don't know the stuff at the top of my head, like some people probably do. They do this on a daily basis. Is that, where did all these coefficients come from here, right? So if I click on here, you'll see we've got it built right into the database. So we don't have to go out and searching for this stuff, we can pick on what's going on here, okay? And so this is part of the post design. So pavements and roads, flat 0 to 2%, yeah, probably somewhere in there, probably more 2 to 10%, but this is the coefficients that he came up with here, okay? And that was brought in, actually he used 0.5, so it must be a different, I don't know where he got this from, somewhere else, but he had overwritten here with a 0.75. He came up with these values, and again, I don't know what he was thinking when he came up with these, but this is the numbers. Now, if you come in here, the time of concentration, here we have another calculator, and you have a lot of different methods here. TR55, I personally more comfortable with and have used in the past, but I need to know more information too. You know, your reference, your sheet flow, your shallow concentrated flow, and then finally your channel flow towards the end. So you plug all this information in, hit the calculate button, it'll come up with your new time of concentration, and it'll feed it into that value there for you. Okay, so I'll say no here. So that will come in. So this is for the primary sizing and the dynamic sizing. Now, we have these other things here, which we're not using any of. So when you get really good at this, guess what? You can come back in here and dive deeper into these. So now down here in the bottom right, I kind of hide it here. We have a nice little help function here. So I'll click on this. This will take us over to their direct help. Tell you all the information here. Show you all the different types of methods we have down here. Like I noticed that, let me see here, time of concentration. Well, help in a different area, but let's look at that. So here's the time of concentration. Here's the information going on in the background. Now, something I want to show you too real quick is up here in the help, okay, see where it says online support. Okay, first of all, if I click on about, this is going to show me what version I'm running, 23.0, okay? If I come over here to the online support area, this will take me to their website. I've got to log in with my Innovyze, not my Autodesk, but my Innovyze login. And log in. And this pops up here. Now you may want to pay attention to this up here. They're talking about, for the people that have been using this for a while, they are changing the licensing. So as of November 1st, 2022, I don't know if that affects you or not, but you may want to come back here and have a look at this if you haven't already heard of it already. But now, this is a nice place here, is that if you're having issues, you want to contact support, okay? Here's where you do it from, okay? Version number, subject, description, tell them what's going on. If you have a file you want to send them, there you go. Now, I've personally used this a couple times and have been pretty impressed. They've replied back fairly quickly. And I usually get a nice email from somebody that knows way more than I do about it, and has walked me through the process and has done quite well. So, so from up here, you'll see your open cases, your closed cases, everything dealing with the stuff that you're working on. Okay. Over to the right though, downloads and documentations. This is where we go to find out what's new. So I'm clicking on InfoDrainage here, and you'll see here that we have a new version. 23.1, and it looks like it came out July 22nd, so a couple weeks ago. Okay. One thing too is you want to make sure you pay attention to this part. Make sure that you are on the new licensing. I'm pretty sure I am, because anybody that's been since 2021 onwards, you should be now. Over to the right here, they show you all the different the legacy downloads you can get at, but more importantly here, what's new. So what is so great about the next release? Improved round tripping to Civil 3D. Okay, that's nice, right? So how do we get it there and how do we get it back, and vice versa? Other one, and I was actually asked this directly from Core Engineering, can we do curved pipes? Guess what? Yes, we can. We can do curved pipes again now. So, and some other things here. Additional locking options. That'll be interesting. See what we can lock. And now support swim runoff method. So another method is supporting. So again, to get here, that is up here in the help, the online support, and that takes you over to it. So, okay, now get back in here. Over on the right side here. So we talked about just the pond here. Here's all the, remember the storm controls we're talking about? We got bore retention. In fact, I dropped a couple of them over here. Let me, I want to see, I don't remember when I was dropping these in. These here are grayed out, meaning that they're on a different, there they are. So I mistakenly put them in the wrong place. So they would be part of propose. And so in reality, duplicate phase, okay, I'd put it into the other phase and come back and delete it from this phase. But let's have a look at these. Let me delete these. Delete all this stuff here. Okay, so over here on the right, let's just go down and have a look at these. Okay, all the different storm controls we have here. Now we're all used to ponds, right? Ponds are, you know, been around forever. Okay, all these other ones here, these are all kind of new stuff. So let's just drag them over here, drop it in, and you always got to give it an area. Now some of these you'll see here. Now you have to hit return on the mouse. Return on the keyboard doesn't complete it. Return on the mouse does. Okay, so if I double click on here, here's the information that pops up that we plug in. Now, if you want to know, okay, what does all this mean? Well, again, down here in the bottom right, wait for it. Nice little graphical showing you what's going on, right? So here's all the information, all the detailed information about it. And a little more on a side slope here, sizing calculator here. So very, very detailed laid out. So for each one of these here, that was for bio retention. Here's our cellular storage. Now you'll notice when you drop this one in, this actually does a rectangular area, which you'd think it would. Double click, go to help again on this one. And you'll see what they're talking about. Nice little cubes. So cellular storage. You know, how big, how long they are, all the information about them. So that's the cellular storage chamber. Again, come on, computer. So this pops up. Now, again, let's go back and look at the help. So here's our chambers. So all the information you need to know for your chamber design. How you plug it in, where it's being plugged in. Nice little more, again, more graphical on here. Now, so we got the dry swales, infiltration trenches, porous paving, soak away, swales and tanks. Now let me show you here now. So speaking of ponds here. So this here is the catchment area. Here's the information on the catchment. So this catchment area is being attached to this particular pond. So if I double click on the pond here, oh, I have the right pond. Oh, just a minute here. Let's go to proposed. Okay, so we got some information, not a whole lot of information. We got some information on here. Inlets, outlets. Actually, we're not getting on the right pond here. I'm missing all my inlets. We're grayed out. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. Okay. So for this particular pond, now we have it drawn here in the background in CAD, more for graphical purposes here. But from within here, this is where we've got to come in here and plug in, you know, each depth here. We plug in, let me see if it shows down here. Yeah, there's a little graphical information down here. But this is all manually put in, okay? So you can delete rows, add rows, repeat rows, and so forth. And you'll see a nice little cross section here so you get an idea. And this does, it's if you look at it, we do have a little drainage trench going down the middle. You kind of see the drainage trench popping up here, okay? So that's plugged in there. Now here's the inlets here. So we've got the information coming from pond A1, which is that catchment area. Now the outlets. Now, what you're seeing here, all this information here, it's just kind of a little heads up here. Let me open up something here in Excel. This particular project here, being in Colorado mandates, and oh, did it pop up on the wrong screen here? There we go. Let me bring it over here. Let me see here. I'll just bring one of these ponds up. Might it be the same pond? But this is this little spreadsheet you see here is actually comes from the state of Colorado here. It's mandated. They have to use this, whether they like it or not. They have to use it, and it's pretty impressive. Okay, so all that information you saw over there actually came from here. This was all plugged in by the engineer, and so one of the big things we're kind of curious about is how well does InfoDrainage compare to what we're getting from this particular software. So it's kind of a nice way to check ourselves. And that's what we're going to be talking about in the presentation here, how this stuff compares back and forth here. Now, of course, my computer locked up. Next Excel thing, not responding. Yeah, let's see. There we go. So you can see over here, we got a lot of stuff going on here. Pretty impressive little package here. So all this information you see here, if I recall correctly, we have all the different elevations from all the different outlets here. So that these orifice, zone 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? All that data is coming from here. And it was plugged in here. So we got row 1, row 2, row 3. We got the actual diameters. We got the invert information, discharge coefficients. Over here, what exactly are they? So here's all the outlet types we have available to us. And then we actually have the actual, like the emergency weir, I believe is probably what's going on here. So that's part of the outlets. Now, if I kick out of here, you'll see here, that's what all these pretty little pictures are. These are all the different outlets. Now, so these are tied in to this pipe here, which eventually do tie back in to this particular pond here. So from here, again, all this information, so we have another spreadsheet out there called A2, where all this information is coming from. Here's our inlet. So now we got 2 inlets, right? So we got the inlet or the catchment information, and we have the information coming in from the other pipe, okay, which is coming in from the other pipe, or excuse me, from the other pond. So that you see in there. So pond A2, okay, that is the catchment information. So I probably should name those differently, just for that reason. We should probably call it catchment A2. And then this is from the actual other pond. And again, these orifices set up the same way. Now, in this particular design, we're not diving into the individual pipes out here. Okay, that's going to be probably our next step here on the design. We're trying to size these ponds kind of overall. Then once we get the pond design, then we'll come in and start laying out the actual pipe runs. Now, a little history here on this particular project. So God knows how much time I spent laying out all these parcels, right? Well, it came back later. The local agency here decided to up the ADT on the main road coming right through. I think it comes right. Yeah, I think we got a main road coming right through here. That one I showed you, it goes up to the Air Force Base. Well, they bumped the ADT up on that big time. And so when they bumped the ADT on that, it bumped up all these side roads coming in here. And not to mention, we have a creek coming down through here as well that we got to avoid. And so what's happening as we speak right now, their planners are replanning this whole area. The good news is we figured that the ponds are going to stay pretty close to where they are right now. It's everything else is going to change. So as for right now, there is no reason for us to start designing these smaller subdivisions. And it sounds like they're going to start with this southern half first, or no, I take that back. They're going to start with the northern half first, and then work their way to the south. But let me see here. I'm going to be daring here. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. I'm going to watch the chat area here. You guys tell me if you can still see my screen. Can you guys still see my screen here? Let me go.
Yeah, we see your PowerPoint.
You do? Okay, good. Okay, I just want to make sure. So we talked about that. Demo. And let's see here. What else am I going to talk about? I want to just make sure we covered everything here. Again, our next demo here. This is we're gonna jump into the actual. We'll start clicking on the analyze button here and start showing you the results. So if I come back here, I don't right now. I have some results plugged in here, but not. Oh, you know what? I think I've got. Yeah, I don't think the flows are set up right now. That's where you get varies. It usually comes up with the actual number here. So I don't want to click on something and have it blow up on me. So, but otherwise, again, back to here, you can see all the different types of storm sewer controls we have here. And down here too, we have all the different types of pipes, the channels. Something else we're going to end up modeling here is that this little gap you see right here, there's actually a big amount of offsite flow is going to come in here as a channel into here and drop into this particular pond. That's why this pond is much bigger. You know, this pond, what's happening here is this pond's going to here, this pond's going to here. They're going into this channel out to the creek. This pond here is taking all this big drainage area you see here, okay? And all that is then going into the channel as well. So, but we haven't gotten that far yet. So, other than that, again, I didn't want to get into the analyze part. We're going to save that for the next release here. I guess a big thing here, I just want to show you guys where, you know, all the different types of storm controls we have available to us. And again, there's a lot of different ones here, as you guys saw, you know. Click on another one here. I guess the help here. A lot of different options here. But to this stage, we have any questions here? And again, this is just kind of showing you guys how to simply lay this stuff out, not get too in depth in it yet. Well, we'll go ahead here. If you got any questions, go ahead and throw them out here. My email is bnewhauser@atgusa.com. And thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of the other content on our channel.